Good evening, welcome to Success in the City. Webster, I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our fabulous guests today are the very interesting
Kirsty
and Abigail. Hello.
Welcome. I think Helen's definitely Helen, you're having serious technical issues for us. This show we need to get. We need spot.
Wow, I don't know.
It's great. I shall carry on. So here we go. Are you back with us, Helen? You're completely like a robot. Are you back with us now?
Fancy new table, and I thought it would have been amazing.
No, whatever it is, just stop it. What is it? That's okay. We'll sort this in a second. So anyway, welcome to the show. Thank you very much. I'm delighted you're here. And Helen's invited you on the show because we haven't met. So I love it when this happens because it's extra exciting and very interesting for me as well when I don't know the guests, because there's lots of things. We actually have a format to the show, which I'm completely unaware of. Helen just leads it. Even though we've been doing this show for 3 years now in a couple of weeks. We set it up in lockdown because people's spirits were quite low locally. And we were saying, you know what, it's a great place to live. People are really calm. We all help each other. And the show's about ordinary people making a difference locally to inspire others. And people's stories are just so interesting. And we just have the most amazing people. And you guys, you're the very, very first people we've ever had on who've been a mother and daughter team. But we're going to find out more about it. You were back then. I heard a sound. Just your face isn't. You're pixelated. We can't see you.
You're clear on mine.
Well, I can hear you. That's you. We can hear you. We just can't see you. You're still.
Okay. It might kick in a minute. It might kick in. Okay, we're going to shout out to the kids. Any little people who've done amazing things this week?
Yes, definitely. Shout out to Miley, who has done that much revision of the characters from Shelter and insisted on reading it all out to me tonight. And I was absolutely amazed with her. I just taught her before I jumped on then, and she just did. I was blown away by all her character analysis of the book she's doing at school. So well done to Miley. What about you, Helen?
Well done, Miley. I'm going to shout out to all of the kids in Warrington who, it was European Sports Day on Friday.
Oh, right.
We went to the, it's on site like a big sports venue, like youth centre. There's the Hive is the one in Birkenhead. They've got one in Warrington. Right. Yeah, and we had 4 different schools come there and do a little bit of different sports. They had to do 120 minutes of physical activity to get the European Sports Day award, and they were just ace. They were just boss. So well done to all of them.
Well, I'm not sure I could do that. So.
Yeah. What about you, Kirsty, Abigail? Which little people are you going to shout out to?
We don't really know any young people. Like, this is my young person.
Yeah, I'm the young one.
However, it's a bit more of a poignant one. So I was thinking about this, thinking the only kids I'm thinking about this week really are the ones at Caldy High School after the awful accident. And I noticed today in the paper, the head teacher talked about how all the kids have been rallying around, all the teachers, and made a comment that it never ceases to amaze me, the human spirit. So my shout out is to all the kids all the kids at Caldy High School who are having a really, really terrible time after the awful accident. So we're just thinking about them.
Yeah, and I teach kids from Caldy and West Kirby, and I've had a lad from Caldy on tonight, and I just briefly mentioned it and he said, I'm absolutely fine, he said, but some people aren't. And we've got a young girl from West Kirby, and we've taught loads from those, so I was just horrific, absolutely horrific accident, you know. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. So,
right.
Big shout out to all of them.
Moving on, Hel.
Okay, success this week for you personally, something that's happened that you can have a little chat about.
I'm going to run and get my success to show for the people who can watch while you tell everyone.
I think you need to. So I am going to talk. So my success is that on Sunday, we've got inclusivity, which is hopefully going up Killy, and then of course COVID stopped us, so we do a few little walks. We haven't done anything for a while, but it was lovely on Sunday to get back. So I want to say a massive thank you to Christine Penman, who's been our guest before, and Joe Swinney, because we just went for a lovely walk, and we had to catch up, and we had tears and laughter and a bit of everything, and it was just ace to just spend time with each other and then have a coffee. So I would say my success was just catching up with people this week. Yeah. What about you guys?
I missed out on that and want to go. And Christine's had her wisdom teeth out today. Sorry, can I just show mine quickly? I don't mean to be rude, but it's heavy. I have these are tomatoes. Yes, they are all green. But
I thought you were going to get the carrot.
I thought it was grapes at first.
The photo of the carrot on in the week. No, that's on that carrot.
Oh, sorry, carrot. Very funny shaped carrot, but still edible.
So the carrot's gone now, obviously. So these are the tomatoes I've got, and the loads are on the window ledge, Helen. They're going red. Some of them are turning red. I've got a glut of tomatoes, but they're all green because the weather's gone cold too quickly. So I'm looking to make some of them red by putting them on the window ledge, but also there's green like salsa and things you can do with them.
Chutney, that's what we need to make. Yeah.
Okay, right, and in a minute, Helen, I'll do me this or that because it's about chutney. Right, Kirsty and Abigail, what's your success this week?
Well, mine is that I've been doing a doctorate for 4.5 years, and before I went on holiday to Greece last week, I submitted my first full draft. So I'm going to claim that one as my big success because it's like I set myself a time.
Massive success.
What's the doctorate, Kirsty? What's the doctorate?
It's a doctorate in policing, criminal justice, and security. What?
Yeah.
Get interested.
That's very interesting.
It is.
Yeah. That's marvelous.
And then my
success
is that me and my boyfriend Liam, we've successfully kind of bought a house this week. It's all gone through and everything. So
ready for exchange. All inquiries are done. So can't wait.
Moving out.
Fabulous. Brilliant.
Years, and I'm officially moving out again.
She's on a bungee elastic, but I'm going to.
Yeah, a lot of us are like that. I went back when I was 52.
Brilliant.
Okay, cool.
Okay, some good successes there. Okay, we're going to play this or that. I think Sam will just do 2 each. Okay.
Okay. So,
am I going first?
Go on then.
Okay. Because we're sponsored by Corporate Connections. So we sort of corporate connections, businesses connecting with each other on a high level, and they just do dead cool stuff. So mine is sort of, I like to be a bit worky business themed for the first one.
Okay.
So I am going to ask Abigail first.
Oh, okay.
Okay. A higher salary or more holidays?
Oh.
The answer.
More holidays. Yeah. I love me holidays.
What about you, Kirsty?
More holidays.
Dan?
Right, so this really does depend though on your requirements in life.
I don't think she gave you it depends option, did she?
No. More holidays or more money?
How many holidays have I got?
28. The bog standard normal if you work for somebody like 28 holidays or whatever you get.
More money at the minute, more holidays next year. There you go.
Well, it's funny. I saw a clip about this today, and I saw a bloke, and he was talking about how he worked with this company. It was all American, this corporate company, and he decided to say, right, let's trial it for a month and give all the employees unlimited amount of annual leave and holidays, and we'll just see how it goes. And it turns out that they ended up trialing it for a few months because it went actually really well. Everyone took pretty much a similar amount of annual leave as they're actually already given in most other companies. But then because they had the freedom of the amount of annual leave and holidays they had, the productivity actually went up by 40% in the company.
I read that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw
So productivity in the company went up, so the company was doing better, but they didn't actually lose any money because people were still taking pretty much the same amount as they were given them.
It's about giving people trust, isn't it, and control.
Yeah.
Like adults. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'd have well more holidays. Yeah, 100%. I think you're more productive.
I had a job in the past where you could sacrifice salary to have extra leave, and I did do it. So I've definitely done it.
And I read the thing, and it was about they were giving people they had to make redundancies. So instead of making redundancies, they said, right, okay, you're going to have, we're going to go to like a 3-day week. And then if people wanted to work a 4-day week and some people wanted to work 2, they could buy them off each other.
Yeah.
And they could swap them. And so it was during lockdown to stop people from losing their jobs. All the people, the whole of the workforce, which is amazing, isn't it? That they all sort of rallied. Sally Dowd says she'd have more holidays too.
Yeah, I mean, COVID has changed how we think about it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Oh, Sally's just gorgeous. Sally definitely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just say Sally does have school holidays because she works in a school.
Perfect.
So there's a lot of
And
people.
she still wants more. Go on, Sam, your go.
Okay. So corporate connections, then this is a themed one, and then my next one's relevant. Okay. Corporate connection one was would you rather go for a meal or a cocktail party where they come round with lots and lots of canapes? And this relates to a lovely event I went to last week.
Who's that to?
To you guys first, please, Kirsty and Abigail. What's
a sit-down meal or a cocktail-y
canapes?
Canapé.
Lots of canapes that are very filling.
Suave. I'm assuming that's a bit
You're
suave.
thinking cocktail dresses.
I am, yeah.
It was a glamorous event.
I do like it. But I think my go-to would be a sit-down meal because it's more relaxing and it's just nice to have a chat, isn't it? But would you like a little bit of a cocktail soiree?
I do. See, I think I'm going to say the soiree.
Yeah.
Because, like, how often do you do it?
Well, true. True.
So
That's true. Nice for a change. Fair enough. What about you, Helen?
Sit down because you get fed.
Well, no, it is rubbish if they don't bring food, but the event we went to last week was unbelievable. It was just the best thing ever, but I'll mention that later. Okay.
What about you?
Well, it is. If it was like the event I went to last week, that hands down. But it is nice to sit and have a meal with everyone, like you say. So overall, if it was one or the other forever, the sit-down meal.
Yeah. Okay. Sally goes cocktail canapes. Buffet food is her favorite.
Is her favorite. Yeah, true.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
One help.
Sort of a little bit of a themey to do with Kirsty and Abigail.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. A brainstorming session.
Ooh.
Or
A brainstorm.
Solo research. Kirsty.
Oh, now that's a tough one for me because I do like both. But for fun, it's got to be the brainstorming.
Yeah.
Because we like a whiteboard
We
session.
bounce off each other well, don't we? And then we get all excited.
We get all the coloured pens out. And then they have to photograph it and then make it into some kind of document.
Yeah,
afterwards.
we have to then spreadsheet it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you try to
use them,
it's good to get everyone's input. I quite like solo research for speed. If I've got to get something done fast, solo research.
No, that doesn't work for my brain.
No.
My brain doesn't work like that. But yeah.
Mine's the same as yours.
Everyone learns different, don't they?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
100% brainstorming for me. Go on, last one, San, and then we'll hand it over.
Chutney with or without sultanas. This is to do with my tomatoes.
Without.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't mind a
say
sultana, but I think I'd go without.
Without,
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's very few recipes for green tomato chutney without sultanas.
You can make your own. You can have the Scott chutney recipe.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's a good shout.
You paved the way in sultana-less
trailblazer in sultana-less tomato chutney.
Green tomato chutney.
Get on to Mama Suits and ask her for the recipe.
Oh, you know what? That's their trade secret. They can't share that.
If you want a bit of sweetness, put some apple in instead.
Well, that's recommended in a lot of them. But there we go. Yeah. Okay, fabulous. Go on, Hel.
Okay, so we're done. We're just doing 2 each. Yeah, cool. Okay, because there's 2 of them. We're like super excited. We've got Kirsty and Abigail today, mother and daughter, who are the founders of the Advantage Academy, and we're going to hand it. So I've known Kirsty and Abigail for about 10 years, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. And in that time, I've seen Kirsty do a job and then go and do other things. And then she's doing a doctorate and all things like that. Abigail's gone from being in school to now being an amazing young woman. And to watch, the sort of dead cliche, but to watch the journey of where they were and to where they are now and how they got there is phenomenal. And I just think it's lovely that a mother and daughter can work together. And so I am going to hand it over to both of you. Massive thank you for coming on. Hand it over to both of you. Tell us a little tiny weeny bit about yourselves and then how you got to where you are. Sandra and I will butt in with questions at the same time, because that's what we do.
So what's a little bit that we can say?
It's quite a lot.
We've done a lot.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. We are going to take turns to make sure we both get a say, because we're both quite chatty, so we've made sure we take turns in it. So for me, I've always worked in public sector, in emergency services, and I was working mother, had my children, and got promoted. Life was good. I was working shifts, working quite hard, and it was all going really well. But over the years, I've dabbled in a number of different kind of businesses, from traditional businesses, doing catering before I knew Helen, to network marketing businesses, which I did really quite well at, quite successful at that. And then online businesses as well. And I've always had success with them, but I wasn't quite lit up by them. So I learned a lot about business, but didn't quite find the one that was for me. Now, for me, I really enjoyed being a role model for Abby and taking her with me to business events and things, which is how Helen kind of got to know her. And a bit of a confession, when Abby was in school, I used to be the chair of a women's network, and I used to put on like an event on International Women's Day every year, like a professional development event, and I would have lots of women who are very, very successful come in, people doing talks, and I would facilitate it. And I would take Abby out of school because she'd be ill to come to those events, because I thought coming to that was a better education for a young girl, to give her the role models that I felt were really, really useful to her. Because, I am, a bit of a feminist in that I do think we've got some quality issues and I like to address them. And where I worked was very male dominated. So for me, it was really important that we furthered women, and particularly young women. And that's how it started. So I got into kind of coaching and mentoring through my work, but also bringing my daughter with me to show her and demonstrate to her that women can do anything they set their mind to. And that's really how it started. So I'm going to go over to Abby because then her story starts from when she went to university.
Yeah. So obviously growing up from, I think from ages 13, 14, obviously I was kind of exposed to my mum being a strong, independent woman and being introduced to all these amazing women who, paved the way in whatever industry they were doing. And I kind of always had this mindset of, I had this idea that I wanted to go to London, do this fashion course and go do fashion in London and big cities and whatnot. So then when I did eventually go down to London when I was 18, university for me was a big letdown. It kind of wasn't what I imagined it to, how I wanted it to be in my head and what I'd made it up to be. And so because it wasn't what I thought it was, I wasn't enjoying it how I thought it was. And yet all my life plans were based on going to university and doing that course, etc.
What did you go to study, Abigail? What did you go and study?
I went to study fashion initially. I did 1 week of fashion and then I changed to business management for the rest of the first year. Bored me to tears. Absolutely was not for me. It just, and I think as well, the university environment and all that, it just didn't like work out the way I thought it was. Yeah.
What did you think it was going to be? What did you think university like? Did you think were you expecting like all the big mad parties and just having a ball?
I just thought I was going to go there. I was going to be having an absolute blast, having just the best time of life, having fun, making all these friends, learning and doing really well in studies without actually ever managing to go to any lectures somehow. I just thought it was just, and then I thought I'd meet the love of my life and get this big amazing job out of it. But I think at the time I went to university, I think I had a bit of a crash in my mental health. But I mean, who doesn't have a bit of a crash in the mental health at some point in their life? And so it kind of all was an alcohol fueled, and it just wasn't a good mixture. Yeah. So I had a bit of a dip in my life. Mm-hmm. And so I came home. I was like, I can't, after first year, I was like, I can't go back. And so I was then left at this point where this idea of what I was going to be kind of came crashing down around me. I was like, what am I going to do in my life now? So I came home to Mama Bear. She dusted me down. And we did our brainstorming sessions, didn't we?
A system that we keep doing over and over again.
And then through the kind of the talking and the what to want out of life and thinking things through and reevaluating my priorities in life and what I really wanted, came the idea of cabin crew. Your friend at the time was cabin crew, and so I was like, travel the world, get paid for it. Yeah, all right. So applied to a few companies and somehow managed to get into British Airways, of all of them.
Through good planning, preparation.
Yes, we did do a lot of planning, didn't we? And so I got into British Airways and I was like, right, okay, a few years, let's go travel the world. Let's go figure out who I am, find who I am, and think about what it is I want for the rest of my life. So off I went. I went back down to London again because obviously I was flying out of Heathrow. And I was flying all around the world, getting very drunk, lots of bad behaviour. Had an absolute blast. Of my life.
It's wild. Airlines are wild.
Yeah, but obviously it's quite a chaotic lifestyle. You kind of never really settled. You're always here, there, and everywhere. Missed out on family occasions as you do and things like that. And so again, through the process of the job, I kind of came to realise that, I am quite a home bird. I do like to have, a place to go and settle at the end of the day. And so I decided I wanted a dog. I wanted a dog for a start, and I wanted my own home to call my own house, and I can do what I want with it. But obviously, cabin crew, bit low paid, doesn't really work well with that kind of life. So again, it was kind of a case of, well, how do I go from my chaotic lifestyle where I don't have much savings and whatnot to being able to afford having, a home and being settled and that. So we went back to the drawing board again, didn't we? Came over to Mama Bear, dusted me down again, brainstormed again what my priorities were for my life at that point, and then kind of came to the conclusion of kind of following in your steps from what you had done, kind of emergency services kind of role. From there, again, lots of studying, lots of preparation, lots of background work going into applying for emergency services, and I eventually kind of got into the job I'm in now, emergency services. Again, with the goal of an interim kind of few years,
learning, developing, growing up, getting the dog,
saving, getting house. Which obviously I've got the dog, I've got Murphy.
So when you move out, where's the dog going?
With her.
He's coming with me.
Really? I thought he might have been staying with you.
He'll have sleepovers.
Yeah.
But I think the point of it is, and this is where we've come to the business, is that we've developed a system that we found works. And what we discovered was that lots of young people like Abby do suffer with what they call a quarter-life crisis. And we thought, well, do you know what? We're quite good at sorting that out when she's had a down times and a moments of like, where's my life going? What we're doing with it, or what's it all about? We've had systems we put into place, and we've kind of learned how to do coaching through that. And then from that, we decided, you know what? There's other people like Abby suffering who don't necessarily have the same resources at her disposal. And I've done lots of coaching and mentoring before, and we decided to write a course for young people called the Quarter Life Creator. So we developed an online course, and that's why we started the Advantage Academy, to help other women in the 20s and 30s who are just not happy with what they're doing in life and need to find a way through it. And that's how it started. But what we quickly realised is that actually what a lot of young women in that age want is freedom. And we touched on it before with the, what would you have, higher money or more lead? And actually what a lot of young women want is the freedom to choose how they live their own lives. They just don't know how to do it. So we've now ended up developing our products with the Advantage Academy, more aimed towards helping young women not just understand what they want in life, but to actually develop a business that will support their lifestyle. So we kind of moved now towards the business coaching, haven't we? And expanded towards like one-to-one coaching as well. So we kind of offer a number of different products, but mainly it's an online course and face-to-face coaching for other people in similar situations. And that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And we like each other. So.
Yeah. We actually get
So
on.
we're going to share. We will share all of the links and things on the page and stuff like that. Of how people get involved. So, as a young person, Abby, people. So, for instance, somebody like me, and I come along and I go, well, Abby's only, a really young woman, and she's, what does she know? And I think because you've got both of you, that's a massive advantage, isn't it? You've got the two, and I'm a massive advocate for reverse mentoring. So younger people being able to mentor older people, in different fields and things like that. So what are the qualities that you bring? What are the qualities that your mum brings?
Can I just say something about you first? Because you don't sell yourself very well.
So it's a learning curve
because Abby's quite young. We did think to ourselves, will people look at her age and think, what does she know about coaching? So Abby's been working outside of her job to get some qualifications. So she's done a certificate in executive coaching and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP.
Very interesting.
And she's just passed an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration. So she's working really hard to get the qualifications to match, because I said to her, the one thing people will hold against you is your age, unless you give them a reason not to. So she worked hard to do that, and I've learned a lot along the way with her as well. But you're right, Helen, having the advantage of both age groups is there, because we are going to start doing some podcasts, and we were kind of going to call some of them Borrow My Mum, because not everyone's got someone.
That's so good.
100%.
Mum, I love that.
She has uses.
My mum, that's so good.
Because not everyone's mum
It's a positive role model, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the positive role model. And some, as you say, not everybody's got a mum. Some people have got a mum, but it might not be, a mum who's in business. It might be a mum who's, and sometimes it's about, you love your mum as who they are, but sometimes it's nicer to ask a stranger.
Absolutely.
And you're asking a stranger, but you're coming at it from a mum's point of view with a younger daughter and wanting young women. And I know Abby, so I know Abby's like super well qualified. Abby's been doing this since she was 13, and a lot of people won't look at that. We went to see. We went on a day out, and Abby came with us, and I think she might have been maybe 14, 15 when we went to see Brian.
Full of acne, all that.
Brian Trace, Brian.
The mapping one, the mind
one, the mind mapping, and
horses. I've got.
He might have been about 14, maybe then. So to be able to do those sort of things when you're 14, age is an attitude to me. Age is an attitude.
It is. And to be honest, Helen, we are aiming to expand later on to do some mentoring of people in my age group, because I'm a real advocate of, it doesn't matter how old you are, like menopause is a big thing in the news. I've had my issues, but I've got through it, but I've still done a doctorate, doing new jobs, starting a business.
Raised me and Luke. We were.
And I still do, I go to the gym and I'm doing Olympic lifting. I love me Olympic lifting. And it's like, it's a mindset. And I don't want to do, the menopause symptoms of this is what you need to do. I want to do menopositive, positivity in the menopause and really start to expand that. But I actually think Abby's got things to contribute, because she's lived with me through that transition. And I think we both have something to offer from each age group to both age groups, if that makes sense. I think that's unique.
And I think sometimes people like to identify with certain people, and it's nothing against each other, but there might be a young person who wants to speak to Anne, and they think, you'll be more on my wavelength. There might be somebody older who more wants to speak to you, Kirsty. Just how people are. And I know it's certainly in the therapy world, therapeutic alliance, so people having that rapport with the therapist is actually the number one factor before anything. You think of teachers at school, dad loves the subject, then they get this teacher, it goes like that. Purely because they haven't got that relationship. So I think that's quite a good dynamic, and I can see that working really well. And
I think we're hardy enough that if someone says, no, I don't want to speak to Abby, I want to speak to Kirsty, or vice versa, we can take it. Very broad-shouldered, and we understand that. It's absolutely fine, but we're still here to support each other. So if Abby came to me and said, someone's got this issue, what's the best technique to suggest or the best coaching tool for that, then we're here to support each other and vice versa. So we are here to kind of help each other along the way as well. So it doesn't matter which one of us is the forward facing for each client. It doesn't matter.
And what I think a lot of people don't realise with coaching, they think, oh, it's just somebody giving you a bit of advice. It's absolutely not. It's a process.
Yes.
It's a process that has to be followed. And you're saying there, Abby, you're doing these qualifications, etc. And the MBA is known to be the hardest master's degree. There'll be people who'll argue with that, but that is when they allocate them all points. The MBA is categorically regarded as the most challenging one. So, fair play to you. And sometimes you do have younger people who are a lot wise and they've got an older head on their shoulders. You've got older people, not pointing at myself maybe, but who aren't as clued up about things in life, or feel they've only had an education over the last 10 years or something like that. So it doesn't matter. It's whatever suits. And you'll have diverse clients anyway, won't you, from all different walks of life.
Yeah. I think it's important that people understand that education comes to you at different time zones. I always said to Abby, you don't have to get a degree when you're 18, 21. I got my first undergraduate degree in my 30s. I got my master's in my 40s. And here I am finishing my doctorate in my 50s. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? It's for me. It's for nobody else but me.
No, absolutely. I teach languages and we have clients who are in their 80s, and they go, I wish I'd done it years ago. It's never too late to learn. And I think you should always be learning as well,
Well, what do you say? Use it or lose it. There we go.
100%. Definitely. So when you were decided and you thought, right, okay, we're going to do this, right, and we're going to do this online course, from your blank piece of paper or your whiteboard, what did you do?
Well, we started off investing in our own education and we paid quite a lot of money, didn't we, for someone to teach us how to do online courses. So we went through a program of learning, first of all, because it's not just the course, it's all the tech that goes with it and all the funnels, everything. And obviously we didn't have a clue about that really. So we had to do a lot of learning. So we spent about 3 months working through the course.
It's not just a business. It's a business with a course and then technology as well with that of it all.
Marketing
marketing, and it's all got to link together somehow magically. So it was a big learning curve, wasn't it? To be fair,
Was this during lockdown? Sorry, was it during lockdown? Or was it just after?
It was last April, wasn't it? And so, but we were like, so we have this idea of what we want to do, but like, what do we even do it on? Like, what is it we're even going to teach, or what is it that we're passionate about that we want to, help other people with? And so then we had to kind of like look to ourselves again and think, well, what is it that?
What do we know about?
What do we know about, and what do we know people need and want, and that we're passionate about? Because you can't do something you're not passionate about. You've got to love it, haven't you? You've got to want to be able to teach it.
But we had flip charts all over the walls, Helen, and in answer to your question, we had flip charts all the way around the snug, didn't we? And we were just in there every night, just blasting through what the modules are.
What about that?
Moving all the course around to see what fitted where, and then testing it out. And then we had some people test it for us, and then we had to put it on the technology and then make sure that the workflow worked, didn't we? And then recorded lots of lessons that we did a video recording for and uploaded all that. So it took us quite a while. I mean, people think like, how much do you charge for something? And it's very hard, isn't it, to put a price on something when it's about someone's life. But in actual fact, a lot of these online digital creators spend a lot of time creating what they're producing, and people need to appreciate the value of it, don't they?
People think that when you do something, don't they, like on the computer, it takes you 5 or 10 minutes. And anything that takes 5 or 10 minutes on a computer takes at least half an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
For a social media post, like for one, and so to create video content and edit it and upload it, you're probably looking at it like a day or a couple of days.
We were rubbish at first, weren't we?
And we got better, and we got better at doing it. So if anybody wants to know how to start their own business and how to develop online courses, we can coach them through it, because we've done it now, and we felt that was important that we did it, we learned, and that we did it ourselves together. So that if anybody else wanted to do the same thing, we could coach them through it.
Fantastic. So who are ideal clients for you then?
We're going to say women in their 20s to 30s, obviously it doesn't have to be, but tend to be women in the 20s or 30s, kind of going through what I went through. So maybe they're in, a 9-to-5 job or public or private sector. It kind of doesn't really matter. But they're in a career, but they feel, I'm going to use the word trapped, stuck. Like they know there's more to life, but they don't know how to get it. They know they want more, and they want different to what they've got. They don't see the path to how to achieve it. Because I was in that 2 or 3 times, and I knew how much of a horrible, gut-wrenching feeling it was. And so we kind of like, well, we don't want anyone else to ever feel stuck or trapped in life. It's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that we want to help and show them the way to how they can achieve their time and money freedom.
They see the people doing it, they just don't know what it is for them and how they can do it, and the path to it. We have actually got a freebie, haven't we, which I'm sure Helen will share, which is the 5 to 9 roadmap to quit your job, because most people building businesses, to give them the time free and build it in the 5 to 9 in the evening,
outside of the 9 to 5.
Yeah. I thought that was dead clever when I read that. I thought
yeah.
that was
It's a bit confusing to say, but that's the truth, isn't it? Anybody tells you it's easy to build a business, they're not telling the truth, really. It takes a lot of work and commitment, and it's much easier if you've got somebody to help you and show you the way through it. And that's
it's accountability, isn't it? It's accountability. If you've got a coach, somebody's saying, right, okay, what do you want to do? And then it's up to you. And I say, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then I'm going to meet you next week. And I think, I haven't done that.
Yeah. I wouldn't turn up. And we used to do an accountability group with some other people as well. And I would never, ever turn up. We used to have 3 action points at the end of each meeting. And I didn't feel bad as long as I'd done at least 2. And I'd try and off 3. And if someone keeps coming and they're never working on something, there's no point in them being in the group, because they're not progressing, or it's the same issue all the time,
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Good.
So what's your favourite part?
I really enjoy coaching people. I mean, I enjoyed developing the course because it helped us, understand what we wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. But I really like seeing somebody who is a bit lost, looking for a bit of advice, and then you talk to them for a while, and then you see something click in the head, or there's something that you just say, and you can see a change in the look in the face, that the penny drops, or they realise something. They have a little bit of a moment of recognition of what they need to do. So I do like being sort of with people. Yeah. You're more of the content creator, aren't you?
Well, obviously I do enjoy that, because I, again, like you said, like the click and the light bulb goes on, and go, oh my God, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy like the background of the content, because I get excited knowing what we've put into it, if that makes sense. All of like the knowledge and the work, and like almost like recognizing that's what I like. I've actually done this system that we're teaching you.
Yeah.
And so I do enjoy it, because I feel like we're putting in all of that knowledge and power into the content that we're giving.
Like, I'll write things that are great, but then she'll change it all and make it look nice.
As well.
She'll go, you're not posting that.
And that looks absolutely awful. No.
That works well.
So what happens then? So mother and daughter working together.
Yeah.
How do you stop being mother and daughter workers and be mother and daughter?
I don't know if we do. I think we're just
we're still mother and daughter.
We're just merged. We're just the same person.
Just one person with 2 brains slightly separately.
2 bodies and 1 brain.
Yeah.
My son works with me in our business, you say, and he goes, and so he's 25 now. But he came on board when he was 23, and he'd go, and because people, I've done what I've done for a while, so people tend to know in town, and that they know what I do, etc. And they'd be like, oh, you work for your mum? And I said, well, you don't work for me. We work together. You have a share of the business, etc. And he's grown up with me doing it. And he said, and then I'd go, oh, this is my son, Ronan. And he goes, or I'll go, oh, my little, and I'll just come out with something like a proper mum thing to say. Goes, that really doesn't help me at all, Mum. And it is difficult, isn't it?
Abby just calls me Kirsty all the time. And everyone goes, why does she call you Kirsty?
No.
And it just started when she was a kid. I think we were in a supermarket and she shouted mum and everyone turned around.
No, she doesn't really,
except me.
Yeah.
And
then
then
it gets your attention.
It just stuck. So everyone goes, why did you call him mum Kirsty? I don't know, just call her Kirsty.
But to be fair, in the coaching kind of packages we do offer, we do the first coaching session together, and then we split it up so that you get time with both of us.
Yeah.
Because we can sometimes not get the best out of each other all the time if we're too much alike.
Too much the same.
So sometimes it's good to have us separate to then get kind of what we're both.
We have our strengths.
Good at,
we have our strengths.
So we do separate each other in the actual coaching packages as well, though.
We look at the modules that we have a bit more expertise in, and we split it up so that we do different modules.
Brilliant.
Perfect. I love that. That's great. So when you're not coaching, when you're not working in your business, what else are you doing? And I want to talk a little bit about the exciting thing that you got accepted for.
Oh,
when you put it up, I thought, what are they doing? Was the initial thing.
Oh, well, we're not doing it anymore, though, so it sounds bad.
Postpone. So when we were after lockdown, we were just a bit bored. And I saw this advert that popped up and I thought, I can't do that. No, that's not for me. And it was an advert for the Clip Around the World Yacht Race. Now, bearing in mind, I can't sail.
No.
But I saw it and then I read a bit more about it and I saw people, mixed age groups, mixed abilities, doing this Clip Around the World Yacht Race. Anyway, I kept it myself for a little while, and then one day, and I went on the walks with the dog.
We went to the beach, went to Thornby Beach. Yeah.
And I said, Abby, I've seen this advert for the Clip Around the World Yacht Race. I'd love to be crew for it. She went, oh, I want to do it. I want to do it. So we both applied.
I don't want to do
interviews. We both got accepted. And we
did you apply separately?
Yeah.
I thought you applied as a pair.
No, you have to apply individually.
You
have to make sure that you're a good fit for the teams. Although they did say we wouldn't have been on the same boat.
Yeah.
Because they have like 11 yachts. We'd have been on different yachts.
You'd be mothering me too much.
I'd have taken over too much and been too much a mother. That's where it probably does come in. I would have been too protective. Wouldn't have let her learn. I'd have been, no, I'll do that, So, that's what they said. So anyway, we both got interviewed. We both got accepted. So we both signed up for the Australia leg. We were going to sail from West Australia and Perth down the bottom of Australia to the, I get my east and my west mixed up. The other side. Northeast. All the way to the top. And then there was like a few different stops in Australia. It was about 5 weeks sailing, wasn't it? And then some racing in between, and then racing to Tasmania, and then back up to Sydney.
Oh
and
then
Sunday
Island, didn't it end?
Sunday Island, So that's what we were signed up for. Then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And of course, it got postponed, and we weren't sure. And it's quite expensive. We were paying for it every month, weren't we? Yeah. Quite expensive for the training and everything. So Abby dropped out.
So I was 21,
and she just couldn't see.
Yeah, she needs a house. She wants a house.
Because by the time, because of COVID, it's going to be in 4 years' time. I was like, I'm going to be 25 by the time I'm doing it. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to be in my life.
Yeah, so Abby dropped out, but I thought, well, I'll still do it, but I won't do Australia. I'll do the leg from New York to Bermuda to Ireland and then back to London, because I wanted to do a massive cross ocean leg, really. So I changed that leg. Unfortunately, I had to have an operation and drop out. I couldn't do the training. But they have said to me, if you want to come back in at any point, just let us know. If you want to come on the next one, you can. But I was saying to you both before that I can't sign up for it yet because I take too many things on and I just have to pace myself a bit. I just need to think.
In that sense, to realise that, life's so exciting and there's so many things you can do. We had Bernie Hollywood on here who did the transatlantic on his own. That was just the whole thing capsized. He thought he was going to die 3 times. It was like that. It was like a horror story. It was just awful, to raise awareness for mental health. So I admire anybody who does anything like that,
I think we will do some sort of challenge, adventure.
When the time's right with the business and I've got my doctorate finished and all of that's done. I think we'll look for the next adventure and we'll decide a bit more strategically rather than spontaneously what that adventure will be. So I think that's what we'll do.
Brilliant.
Amazing. So how often does the Clipper around the world? Is it
every 2 years? But obviously it got postponed during COVID. So it's just started now. The one we should have been on has just started this summer. But it takes a year, the whole thing. But we were going to do one leg. So the leg we would have been doing, we would have been going out in December. It's a bit sad, but never mind. These things happen.
Yeah.
Everything else.
And there's another time, there's another time, another challenge, isn't there, and stuff like that, which is cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. That's amazing. Cool. Okay. We do have a little format to the show. Okay. So before we move on, if anybody wants to get in touch with you both, through social media, the best. If I share all the socials on our platform,
Instagram, the Advantage Academy, and Facebook, the Advantage Academy, and the website is www.theadvantagecademy.co.uk. But yeah, we can share them with Helen, and we've got lots.
And if anybody wants to get in touch with us, and we'll forward you on and stuff like that. And did we say there was a freebie?
Yeah, we've got quite a few freebies on our website if you want to have a look. But the one at the moment that we're promoting is the 5 to 9 roadmap to quitting your job. So lots of information. It's like a workbook. Lots of information and ideas on what you might want to do to think about developing some income streams to be able to quit your job in the future, if that's what you want.
I love that. I love the 5 to 9. I think that's ace. When I read that, I thought that's genius. Amazing. Brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. It's very inspiring to see the future holds for both of you. And I know it'll be good because I know that you're both successful in anything that you put your mind to.
Can I just say though, I think that's brilliant. You put that out as free content because there's a lot, and you're saying a lot of people don't know where to start. And there's a lot of people who they're in a profession, they think, no, I want to change my life, I want to get out. And I think the fact that you just put that out there for people to see, is really good. So fantastic. Good to share that.
Brilliant. When do you find out about your doctorate?
Well, I've got it back with some amendments to do, but I'm hoping to get the final draft finished this month, and then I'll have my Viva examination December or January. So watch this space.
Brilliant. You'll fly. Anyone who comes on here just goes on to do boss stuff.
Oh, it's unbelievable. We're getting left behind, Helen. These people are all on national television getting awards on the BBC, left, right, and centre after they've been on our show, and we're still in on Tuesday night with the internet.
But you're so important to us all.
You are.
That's what it is. Thank you. Cool. Okay. Red face moment. Anything that's slightly embarrassing that has happened that you can laugh along with. Not at. Do you want me to go first?
That's me. Go on, Hal.
So I was in the gym, and I was they have like trees for the weights to go back on. So the big round plated weights, it looks like a tree, and then people slide the weights on them, to keep them all tidy and neat and stuff. And it was like 6:15 in the morning, and I was walking down. And I was training with somebody else, and we were having a chat. I said, I'll just go and get a template. So off I go. So this fella was putting it back on the tree. So as he put it back on the tree, I took it off the tree. But he wasn't. He was on a piece of equipment, and he was loading it up for himself.
We've all done it.
I stole it. And he was like, oh, no, I'm using that. And I was like, well, you've just put it back. And he went, no, that's a machine. And I went, oh, yeah.
We've all done it, haven't we?
I love it. That's a brilliant one. I like that one a lot.
And I was like, oh yeah, thanks. And I put it back. And I was like,
I'm just a personal trainer.
Yeah. He did find it highly amusing. So there you go. So that was mine. I think this week I don't think I've had any more. What about you, Sam?
A couple. So I went to this fantastic event last week that just was amazing. So at the art school, well, that's me shout out in a minute, so I'll do that. But there was a couple of famous people there who were being polite and saying hello. And I was like, I do recognize you, just like a complete idiot. I don't know. Did you used to live in Egbert or Chilwell? And I'm going through all of these, and then I'm getting like a nudge off my friend, and I was like, okay, just leave it, shut up now, and realised it was awkward. And the person was terribly polite, so I don't want to go into it. It was just mortifying. But I think I did it twice as well on the evening with 2 different people, so that was just rubbish. But there we go. Just the usual.
I did the same thing yesterday with somebody.
Are you? Haven't you said before you're not good with faces and names?
Yes. Oh, I'm hopeless. I'm so bad. Well, the only thing that keeps me going is Stephen Fry. So Stephen Fry is multilingual a lot. So I'm multilingual, but he speaks a lot more languages than me. I think he's got about 9 or something. and his face blindness is really bad. So he's much worse. It's really severe. So I think I've got a moderate dose of whatever Stephen Fry's got. So I feel better about myself because of that. So there we go. And a moderate.
I did the same with you, and I was going out of the toilet. Somebody was walking, and they said, "Helen," and because I wear like my mad pants, and I went, "Oh," she said, "Oh, we have a little chat," and I went, "Oh yeah, okay." Comes out, didn't have a clue who it was, but I was thinking, I know her face. It'll come back to me in a minute. It'll come back to me in a minute. And then after about 10 minutes of her being really kind to me, and I was quite kind back again, she then said something, and I realised who it was. And if I'd have known who it was, I probably wouldn't have spoke to them. I went like that. I went, "Oh," and then I thought, "Oh, I don't want to speak to you." I said, "All right, okay," and I just, I was fuming with myself.
That's very rare for you.
I know. I was so annoyed at myself, and I'm normally like really good with faces, but I think I blotted them out of my head. But never mind.
I have to really know someone. I'm just so bad. Yeah. And also seeing someone out of context. If you're used to seeing them in a certain place all the time, and then if you see someone in a business environment, then you see them on a night out, I'm hopeless. I'm really bad. And I'm quite bad with guys as well. You see someone and you'll say, "Oh, hello, pleased to meet," and they go, "I met you last week and I sat by you," and you're like, "Oh God," in a business meeting. And so I end up offending everyone left, right, and centre. So it's not personal to people.
What's your red face? I'm sure you've got some belters.
Can you do yours first?
Yeah, so I mean, I can be a bit daft at times, and sometimes I just get my words mixed up. I just get my words. But I mean, who doesn't? Anyway, I found this conker, right? But the word conker just left the brain, and he ends up calling it a coconut. And then everyone, in work in a professional environment, and I'm there calling this little conker a coconut. Everyone's like, "Abby, what?"
That's brilliant. That.
But I often say I prefer Abby's word anyway. So yeah, she often gets.
I do come with some
free versions. Funny ones, yeah. Oh, we lost you. Oh, hang on.
Fabulous. We can still hear.
You can still hear us, can't you?
We can see you. You as well. You're fine for us. Nothing.
Something on the button. Anyway, never mind. So I'll just carry on, even though we can't see you.
We can see.
So mine is that I was on holiday in Greece last week, and I went for a sea swim. And I thought I'd show off and climb up onto this pontoon, like a boat pontoon, because I'm practicing doing pull-ups, you see. So I got onto this pontoon and I scraped both knees on the barnacles. Both knees bled, and I looked like a 5-year-old at the age of 54 with grazed knees. That's fine.
That's a good one. I like that. That's really cute. Okay. Shout out to the grown-ups. Any grown-ups who've done amazing things. I'm going to go first, Sam, because I know I'm going to pinch one of yours.
Go on. Oh, don't pinch mine. Go on.
So we weren't here last week because I can't remember.
We had loads going on.
Something happened anyway. So, but the week before was the big help ballroom.
Oh, yes. That was
amazing. We did share it on our socials, and I want to give a massive shout out to all of the dancers. They were all phenomenal. They'd worked really hard. The standard of dancing for people who'd never danced was unbelievable.
Amazing.
And then Michelle has been a guest, and Fran's been our guest before from the Big Help. Massive shout out to them, because they both pulled off an absolute amazing event. They worked so hard. They were there from about 10 o'clock in the morning right through. They were just brilliant. So big shout out to everyone with the Big Help ballroom. That's my shout out. How about you, San?
Fabulous. So my shout out, you've robbed mine, obviously, but I want to give a shout out to Paul Askew, because Paul Askew has had the art school in our city for 10 years. And it's no mean achievement, because it's, it is luxurious food, etc. It is, but people come from outside the city, and he had the people from Eurovision there, and they said, and this is what their actual words were, and they were very nice and complimentary about everything, but the sort of the big wigs, if you like, who fly all over the world and make the decisions, they said, "We didn't think we could get such good food in Liverpool," quote. So verbatim, they thought, now there's other restaurants that are a very good caliber as well. Obviously, we've got some nice, really good fine dining restaurants in the city now, because it's nice for everyone. I appreciate not everyone can access that, or it's for a very special occasion. But he's like I am about languages. You know, we need to do this. We need to welcome international tourists in their own language. He's like that about food. He pioneers, and it's his thing is in pursuit of excellence. So constantly trying to achieve, to get better, and really promote our city. And Emma was there. Emma, who does all the beautiful statues. She did the Scylla statue and everything. And he'd got a statue done of a flying pig in his thing. And they did a launch, and I've never been to anything like that, where they had it covered and then they did ta-da. So that was quite exciting. And it was a cocktail event with jazz dancers, but the food was amazing, and it just kept coming and coming and coming. So I felt very, very, very privileged to be invited there, and that was through Brighton, a corporate connection. So I was really grateful for that invitation and felt very privileged. So
Sounds
that's
fab.
on Wednesday. So massive shout out to him.
And he's going to come on as a guest, I think, isn't he?
He is coming on as a guest, and I can't wait. We need to get him booked in. And Johnny Bongo was there. And he's coming on, so it's made. Oh, we have all types of people on our fabulous show.
I know.
We'll do cool.
Who's your shout out to the grown-ups, Kirsty and Abs?
Mine's a bit boring by comparison. I'm a bit sorry now. So obviously, I have mentioned this before that, you know, lots of coaches have coaches, and I have coaches of my own. I have a PhD coach, not for the academic side, but just for the accountability, motivation, back, and it's someone that's really helped me get across the finish line, and she's just been brilliant at being really positive and making me feel like I can do it at times, because it's quite a lonely journey doing a doctorate, and you know, you are doing that research in your own. We talked about before, it is a lot of solo research, a lot of solo work, and sometimes you just think, oh, what's it all about? And she's just been, her name's Jen Harrison, and she's been brilliant at just getting me across the finish line. So my shout out to the PhD coach.
That's a dead cool shout out.
It's pretty boring.
No one's ever shouted out their PhD coach before on our show.
Oh, there you go. First for me.
What about you, Ab?
Kirsty, now we've got into going to ice tank like cold breath sessions.
Yeah.
And the chap who runs the sessions, he's just dead zen, and I need him. I need a little mini version of him to come round with me all day. Honestly, he's just got these little sayings that are just dead positive. Anyway, and he's just done an ultra marathon. Yeah, I mean, who does ultra marathons? Absolutely ridiculous now.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, but he is a very zen chap.
He's very zen.
Where is it? Where do you go?
We go to the farm club at Pickmere Lake.
It's brilliant. It's one of those places I saw on Instagram ages ago. I thought, oh, I'd love to go there. And then one day we just went, right, let's go. And we went, and we just go all the time now, don't we?
Yeah, we love it. If we don't,
I have seen your posts going, and it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, we miss it if we don't go.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Brilliant. Good shout out. Good shout out. Book, podcast that you're listening to, or a book that you're reading, or something. What you're reading, San?
Well, I finished The Outliners, which I absolutely Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell, which I absolutely love. But, you know, and thanks to Fran, you know, I'm on my course now that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So they recommended one of the books, and I've got the book, but also I've got the audio of it, A Short History of England.
Oh, I've seen that one.
I hated history at school so much, I can't tell you. I couldn't wait to drop it.
Yeah.
I loathed it. And so now I'm having my historical education, shall we say. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Brilliant. Well done.
Okay. What about you?
Anything worse?
Well, no, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's all right. It's okay.
No, it's good because for those who maybe haven't listened or missed a bit, Sandra's doing a blue badge. So she's going to be a tour guide in the city.
Oh, brilliant. So I wasn't going to do it until it's just added to our offer really in the business. I wasn't going to do it until I was thinking about 10 years time or so. I thought, well, I'll do that when I retire. And Fran said to me, Sandra, they're every 10 years. And in fact, they have had 5 since 1983, just the year before the Garden Festival. But they did 3 consecutive years then. So they've literally had 2 courses in the past 40 years. So it was like now or never. And they wanted people who could speak languages. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. So I'll do a bit, but with a view to doing it, you know, a lot more later. But it's really good. I'd have known how sort of what a good gig it was, I'd have done it years ago. So, and it's just ace. They said to me, why do you want to do it? I went, it's the last of my list of jobs. I've done everything I wanted to do when I was a kid. Every single job, bar pop star, obviously, because I can't sing. Every single job I had down, I've done them all. I said, and tour guide was the last one, and I haven't. I do take a lot of visiting tourists and people who I teach English to in the summer. I'll take them around places and that. So it's just brilliant. I'm dead excited, but it's a shed load of work. It really is. But
you've got a bit of time. You've got a bit of time.
I've got no time.
Kirsty, Abigail, what you reading, what you listening to?
My book at the moment is Deep Work by Cal Newport. And it is about, people who are really, really successful, how they make their brains focus to get deep work done. And I didn't actually start to read it because I need to understand about deep work. I started reading it because I read a post about women saying that all these strategies around how to be really successful and do deep work, they're all written by men for men. And they gave some rationale as to why that was. And then they were all kind of talking about this Cal Newport and how he doesn't understand how it is for women, juggling their lives, being carers, all the things we women do, calorie deficits, all the rest of it. Yeah. We talk about hormones and actually trying to do deep work when you've got all these challenges of being a woman. So I thought, well, before I pass comment, I'll go and read the book. So I'm reading that. The first few pages of it are all about successful men. And the only woman that they've mentioned in there about her ability to do deep work was J.K. Rowling, and all the others are men. Out of about 11 they mentioned, and one's a woman. So it just shows how a lot of these business books, these strategies around performance, they're great, they work if you can do it, but they don't take into account all the other challenges that we sometimes have in life. And I think it's something that I really want to research and write about in the future. That's why I'm reading it.
Love that. It's right. What about you, Ab?
Indeed.
So for a start, when I go to sleep at night, every night, I listen to affirmations on Spotify. Nice and quietly, just while I'm sleeping, every single night, I listen to positive affirmations about life and success and all that jazz. So we always listen to that. But then obviously, podcasts, I'm more of a podcast. I listen to good go-to Boss Babes. I mean, really successful. 2 women now, obviously, just Natalie now, but 2 women from just the northeast of England, I think.
8-figure entrepreneurs.
8-figure entrepreneurs, just living in America now, both of them, happy, really successful business.
Good advice as well.
Yeah. Boss
Babes. What are you listening to, Hel, did you say?
So I've actually just started reading the Black Box Thinking by Matthew Sid SYED. So I finished the Thursday Murder Club. If you haven't read them, get on them because they're amazing. It's the Richard Osmond, and it's going to be a film. Oh, they're hilarious. So I finished. I read a bit, went to sleep, woke up again, had to go downstairs and finish reading it because I loved it.
No way.
Yeah, finished it. But I'm back on my other book. So Black Box Thinking. I'm reading them.
What's Black Box Thinking about?
I don't know. I've only read the first page. I think it's about. So it's about. I listened to a great book about having a fearless organisation where people can make mistakes, as long as you get the learnings from it. And it's about junior people believing that they can't step in and say something to somebody. Because they haven't, because they've got that fear factor. So it's about fearless. And I listened to the fearless organisation, and then the first story in the Black Box Thinking was that fearless story that I'd just listened to. So I was a bit freaked out by it. So I was like, that's a bit strange.
Also, that's really interesting you say that, because in the Malcolm Gladwell, they talk about different things about several air disasters. And a lot, and you might know this, Abigail, is a lot of things with air disasters years ago, it was poor communication. So there was this deference in the airlines years ago. So the crew weren't on first name terms with the flight deck. So they were nervous and they wouldn't speak. So that's why they do a lot of team building, because you have to be able to say in situations to your boss, no, I think you're wrong there, or I'm calling it out, or that's not safe. People don't like to.
And I think that's what the Black Box Thinking is about. I think it's about the black box on the aircraft. Even
is. But there we
I
go.
think, yeah. So I think that's what it's going to be about. Cool. So amazing. That went super fast. Massive thank you to Kirsty and Abigail for joining us and sharing all those tidbits. And
so you're going to share the link, Helen, because I want to have a look at that. Even though
I'm going to share all of the links. I'm going to share everything. But before you go, it's your turn. And I'm going to hand it over to you for a closing quote mantra. You can do one each. You can do one between you, whatever you want to do.
Okay, mine is that time will pass anyway, whether you do it or not.
That's very true.
Nice.
And that's why I did a doctorate, because Anita, my friend Anita, said to me one time, 6 years will pass whether you do it or not. There you go. So there I am.
I love that.
So good, actually. Yeah, because people
That's
are going
good. That's good. What about yours, Ab?
I keep it much simpler. There are two things I say pretty much on a daily basis. One, you only live once, so you know what? Just do it. And then the other one is, it is what it is. Do you know what? There are some things that are just out of your control. You just got to accept it and move on.
Yeah, that's right. And that's
I say them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, massive thank you to joining us. Thank you to Sandra for joining us. We're going to see everybody next Wednesday, because I'm at an event with the Girls Network and Sandra's doing an event, I think, or somewhere, aren't you? So we're going to be here next Wednesday. But massive thank you to Kirsty and Abigail. Wishing you all the luck in the world. I'm sure you will succeed in everything that you do. And we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.